Hello, I'm Daniel. Welcome to the first ever Veganless Podcast. Today we're speaking with Jimmy from Scent Assassin.
Hey, what's up? Is my audio
Give it a little
working?
minute. Yep,
All right,
all good.
here we go.
Alrighty, so Jimmy and I have chit chat a little bit, and I think we're pretty like-minded and really feel like the whole hunting industry has become commercialized, and we are kind of the small guys and more relatable than shooting multiple 200-inch deer a year or 180, so on. Sure, will we shoot them? Of course. But we're just as happy shooting, 120, 130, 140. It's your tag, hunt it how you want. It's kind of where we're at.
Exactly. Dude, I'm after a 3-point. I've never gotten a 3-point in my life. So,
There we go. 3 point.
elusive 3-point. The first time I see a good one, I can get it on camera, I'm shooting it.
There you go. There you go.
So don't hate
Get one
people.
of those. Get one of those elusive 11 pointers.
Yeah, I've got a bunch.
There you go. So, yes, yeah, we'll hop into it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. This is the first podcast, so maybe a little bit scuffed, but we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have good combos, and let's get into it. So I'll start with, I guess, a quick background on me. My name's Daniel. I live in Iowa. I'm from Southern Iowa. Have a patch of 80 acres down there that last year got back into hunting. So used to hunt up until late teens, got out of school, got my life back together, college, so on, so forth. Finally getting back to hunting and missed it dearly. So really dove headfirst back into it last year. Started working on the farm. Those of you may have seen the first video from my opening day book. I kind of touched on the habitat management we did. You see all of these different channels out there on YouTube that are experts or self-proclaimed experts or actually experts, trophy hunters, so on and so forth. And from day one, I've stated, not a professional, just an average guy out there having fun, doing, what's been passed down generation to generation, having a good time. So we began with some friends last year working on the land. Don't have any large equipment. We didn't have any good access to the land. We had a ditch that, funny enough, there's a clip out there of us winching a zero turn lawnmower across the ditch with a side by side to try to mow down the food plot that was like chest high. So sprayed it, knocked it down. We mowed it, obviously, and then we burn it up. We found this old ancient harrow on the ground and drug it and seeded it with clover, put in all this work. And opening day, it was 90 degrees out. Most people weren't even out hunting because of how warm it was, but I just had this gut feeling. I was seeing really nice deer going around the plot and around the farm, and I just had a feeling. So I went out there set in the morning and I saw a doe, two two does maybe. I don't recall exactly, and then ended up going in for a quick lunch, coming back out, setting up again, and then absolutely crazy. I had 10 does out in the plot, and I had a smaller buck. I was just watching, filming, so on. And then it was probably 15 minutes before last light. This buck walks out, and I had a target buck in mind, and this buck and the target buck were identical frame wise. The main target buck was just super wide, and this buck kept giving me angles that he looked like the other one. So I'm teetering back and forth in my head, and I'm like, do I shoot this one? Do I not? Do I shoot it? Do I not? And then I'm just like, I'm done. Why do I care? This buck has me excited. Just do it. So I go to draw my bow, and one of those 10 does I mentioned a little bit ago busts me. She blows. They all run out of the plot, including him. And then he sits there for like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever, just looking in, and then decides to walk back out. And it was history. I'm like, this is fate. He gave me a second chance. Like, so bagged him. And I actually just sent Jimmy a message earlier. I got a picture from the taxidermist. It's going to be done in 2 weeks. Absolutely crazy. So long winded, but that's a quick story of how I'm here. And I'll let you give a little intro of yourself.
Well, I'm Jimmy George. I'm the owner of Sin Assassin, one of the owners. I'm from Charleston, West Virginia. Been here all my life. Worked for the railroad um, as a conductor. Hunt when I can. It's not a whole lot of time to hunt, but I save all my vacation and stuff and hunt when I can. Probably some when I can't or shouldn't be hunting, but I've killed a few nice bucks. A couple on the wall here behind me. But I don't know. I got tired of getting busted and winded, so we ended up finding Sin Assassin um, just by dumb luck and started the business in 2018, and here we are, scent free.
There we go. So I guess that's a good point too. Um, I guess one thing I always try to do as a hunter is I want to try giving back to new hunters because this has been something that's been passed down generation to generation to generation, right? Ancestors were hunters. It's just who we are right now. So not everyone has that. Not everyone has grandpas, fathers, cousins, mothers, so on and so forth that hunt. So they may have interest or they may be miseducated or have their own opinions, but they may be open to hearing it. So I like to try to give some sort of advice to a new hunter. Um, do you have anything that kind of piques your interest of like one solid piece of advice?
Um, I guess let's see. Watch YouTube, and I don't know. See, I was that person. My grandpa and my dad, neither one was really big deer hunters. It was all small game, squirrel and stuff. But um, I just learned my neighbors and uh, other people, friends of my dad's that actually deer hunted. That's how I learned how to deer hunt. But I don't know, man. Like, I guess just talk to older people that actually do it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense. I will piggyback on that though with the watch YouTube. There's a ton of good content out there of learning, whether it be you wanting to work on your farm, you wanting to come up with ways to find deer, scout, so on and so forth. But just as much good info out there, there's also a lot of bad info or info that I feel like will make it less enjoyable in the long run.
Yeah, and
There's a ton of trophy hunters out there, which absolutely nothing wrong with. I'm not going to tell you how to hunt your hunt. That's something you need to decide. If you're happy taking, a doe or a younger buck, so on and so forth, that's your choice. So keep that in mind. Don't get caught up in the hunting for likes. And by hunting for likes, I mean you need a trophy buck to post to Facebook or so on and rack up the likes.
yeah, like I just as soon seen pictures of people with average deer. I mean, that they're happy with, instead of it has
The
to be.
smile on that face.
Yeah, there's nothing like a first deer or I don't know, first any deer with a bow is a trophy to me.
Yeah, definitely. So, comment here from Craig. You got to put time in the woods. Videos only help so much, but nothing like first person experience. Definitely agree. Definitely agree with
Oh,
that. I think YouTube is a good tool for your toolbox, if that makes sense. It's not end all be all, and it's not the gospel. You can take plenty of good tips and advice there and kind of figure out how it works into your environment, right?
For sure.
So I'm interested in hearing a little bit more of how you got to Scent Assassin and what you were kind of doing before that and how you landed there.
Well, like whenever we first found Sin Assassin, I actually went to my local bow shop, Kenny Cooper, that he owns Ballistic, and I was over there. I was needing some like scent elimination spray or something. So he was he was telling me, he's like, dude, you got to try this stuff. So he gave me, or well, I bought a bottle, and it was just generically like a generic picture on it, and it actually had an elk on it. And trying to sell it here in West Virginia, which they just, anyways. But anyhow, he's like, you got to smell it. I smelled it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best smelling dirt I've ever. It smells better than actual dirt. But I took it out, tried it, and like I was getting deer and closer than I'd ever gotten them, and they had no clue I was there. So I knew I was in onto something, and I finally shot a bear with it at like 8 yards. It was close, and it was actually my
That's got to
first.
be an experience.
Yeah, so I sent Jason, my business partner. He's my friend too. He was my friend before my business partner, obviously, but I sent him some, and he's like, wow, this is crazy. So we was filming at the time. Thought we would try to get them to sponsor us, because we're trying to be
Hmm.
become film guys. So we could never get a hold of them, and we finally ended up with through another acquaintance getting a hold of them, and they was like, we don't want anything to do with this stuff. Like, if you want to brand it as yours and sell it, go for it. So we had a meeting with them, worked out numbers, and and that's where we are. But in the beginning, the first batch that they made, we needed to add a surfactant to give it a shelf life.
Hmm.
When that was added, it totally messed the whole smell of it up. I mean, it smelled like straight like pine cleaner. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
Yeah. So me and the chemist was like, it was almost like a drug deal. For like 6 weeks, we're meeting at random gas stations in like.
Hmm.
He's like, here, smell this. So like finally, we decided we need to add a little more of this, a little less of this, blah blah blah. And about 6 weeks is what it took, and we finally got it to where it is now, and I'm totally uh, pleased with it. So
Yeah,
that
I
and
yeah, I actually ordered one of the kind of kits of it this last season to test out. Um, I've been back and forth, right? Because scent control sprays is kind of a sensitive topic in hunting, I would say. You have this side over here that absolutely loves it, utilizes it. Then you have this side that just screams, this is a scam. You're wasting your money. It's, you know, water, basically, baking soda water, rather,
yeah.
so on and so forth. So I'm friends with Tim Sylvia, and he actually put me on to these guys. And I always try to support the friends, so definitely wanted to try them out because if he says they're good people, I believe they're good people. So I reached out and ordered some from Jimmy and used it, and I got your new the earth scented one,
Mm,
and it honestly smelled like you go out there into the woods and you kind of scrape up the ground like the against a tree like the leaves in the ground, and it really had a good scent like that. And kind of my placement at this point is kind of middle ground, right? So these people say doesn't work. These people love it, right? So I think it's not the end all be all per se, but
Yeah,
I think it's an amazing tool to add to the toolbox.
exactly.
Like if you can increase your odds, this much, that's an increase in the odds, right? So some of these guys they hunt full time, right? But a lot of us work full time. So we're maybe able to get out a day here, a day there, an evening here, an evening there. So with the limited time, we kind of need to maximize our potential, right? So I think it's a great tool to add to, as I mentioned, the toolbox per se,
Yeah, I want every advantage I can have. I don't. I mean, like you said, the toolbox.
right? And I think when we spoke, you mentioned that you used to say go to like your hunting location, take leaves and so on and put it in with your clothes. And do you have any kind of back home remedy tips like that to help?
Um, well, just like keep everything sent in your. I wash everything in our soap, our laundry detergent. I put it in a scent-free tote. Um, and I just douse it down with earth scent, and like, and then whenever I get to where I'm going, I put all my clothes on. I don't usually ever wear my hunting clothes in my house, in my car, or nothing like, or in the truck, whatever. But when I get to where I'm going is when I change underwear, everything.
Yep. Another tip there is if you have a hike in, wearing not wearing your main layers until you get to the tree. A lot of people take that because obviously long walk in, you're going to build up body heat, you're going to sweat, and it's going to be counterproductive. So if you can, I would say throw, your outer layers, your clothes in a bag and then try to change at the tree. I know it's not always possible. So this is also another case where I feel like the spray is an amazing deal. Like I
Yeah,
said, I used it and I'm not saying this is gospel, but I used it on my hunts and I don't know if it's something weird about the farm. I know there's obviously wind, thermals, so on and so forth into play, but it was very bizarre that I was having bucks, not just young bucks, but I was having some older bucks come up behind me directly in the wind where they should have picked me up, and they didn't seem to care. So I thought that was interesting, and I'm going to keep testing and going back on it, but I thought that was real interesting, to be honest.
yeah. Like I never play the wind anymore. I really never did in the first place because I I don't have a lot of time. When I want to hunt somewhere, I'm going to hunt it regardless. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm wrong or I'm right, whatever. But I mean, I've got deer on the wall to prove it.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to be afraid to hunt because the wind's not blowing this way for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
have time to do that. I don't do this every day. I have a real,
mhm.
so
Yep. I was gonna say, again, going back to the time constraint, where if you have all the time in the world to hunt and you can afford to maybe not go to your farm for a month, so be it. But when you only have a handful of times to go out in the season, I do think those kind of go out to the window to an extent. So at the moment, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, we just started working on habitat improvement on the farm the beginning of last year. So it hasn't even been a full year quite yet, but we only have access from the north side of the farm. And and main hunting season, that doesn't work with our predominant winds. So we kind of have to take gambles. And granted, you can use tools like trail cams, obviously cell cams. You can, a big tool that I added to my kind of pocket or my toolbox was mock scrapes. I would hang up some rope and build mock scrapes, throw a camera on it. Amazing way to inventory your deer. They use scrapes year round for communication and so on. So that was a big tool added. And with that, you can kind of hone in. You really want to figure out where the bedding is, where their food source is, so on. And then you can really kind of use that to your advantage and set up, and maybe not the most ideal wins. Obviously, perfect world, you would want perfect wins, but realistically, not always going to happen.
Yeah, like this buck here, this one, for example. See this one here?
Yep.
Okay, that one there, that's the biggest one I've ever shot. But I shot that deer at probably, I think it was 8 yards, and the wind was blowing like it had the hair standing up on my neck. The wind was blowing so much on my. I was scared to death that I was not going to get that deer, and he walked right in and started feeding. But he was checking
Yeah.
the wind, but he never smelled me. But that's the one time since I've been using our product that I was really nervous.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing it pan out. I'm kind of interested to hear more about that bear hunt. You said 8 yards that
Yeah,
bear was?
yeah, yeah.
Now, it's probably a little more intriguing to me because we don't have bears here, and that's pretty high up on my bucket list. So,
Well, like, and the one that the videos on our YouTube channel, uh,
hmm
where we ended up seeing like 6 bears, and the one that I finally shot, it was probably closer than that. Like when he come like under the tree, he was like I could have spit on him, and then
hmm
let him get out, walk away from us a little bit so I could shoot him.
That's crazy.
But like they've got a nose like no other.
What would you say your most memorable hunt is?
My most memorable hunt, like ever.
Yeah, ever.
Mm, my most memorable hunt ever. Well, it's two of them. Is when my boys first got their first deer for sure.
There we go.
But that buck I just showed you, that's probably
hmm
memorable of my hunts because I was so worried about that deer smelling me, and
hmm
he didn't obviously.
And was he like a target buck you'd previously established, or did you go in blind, or?
No. I've been watching that deer all year long, and it was like I was having him. He was daylighting in the early part of the season, and then he
hmm
just nocturnal, and I forget it was right around the first part of December. He daylighted a couple times,
hmm
and then back to nocturnal. And the week of Christmas that year, he uh he was showing up at daylight every day around 3:30 or 4 o'clock that in the evening at that spot. And Christmas Eve, well, the day before Christmas Eve is when I killed him.
Christmas miracle, huh?
Yeah, it was at exactly 3:30 when I shot him,
What a great Christmas gift to yourself. That would have been awesome.
no doubt.
Would have been awesome.
But that was, like I said, man, I was nervous when that wind blowed on the back of my neck. We got our winds
hmm
bad here.
Yeah. Yeah, where I hunt, you get a lot of swirling too because it's kind of a bowl, and it either you get lucky and it kind of floats over the top of you, or it just swirls like crazy.
Yeah, one of our field staff, well, pro staff, he was probably one of our probably first couple customers ever, and
hmm
was like reading about us and finally looked it up or something and ordered some. and I talk to him all the time. It's hiking with the Vikings, his
Okay.
handle, but he said that he put it on, did everything, washed his clothes in it, sprayed down,
Hmm.
hid from his dogs, and like to scared the shit out of his dogs when they, got close to him. They didn't know they
Hmm.
smell him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they like to eat him alive. He said, but
Crazy.
yeah,
So, do you have any off-season plans? What kind of consumes your off-season? Do you shed hunt?
no
Um,
shed hunting. I get out and scout. I like looking for old rubs, like deer. Like the deer seem to not be in the same place in the summer as they are in the winter here, or during hunt season. So I kind of
hmm.
look for old rubs, when I'm looking for places. Um, we'll end up working our food plots. We've got a couple new farms to hunt, so this season it's going to be good, but we got a lot of work ahead of us. A lot.
Yep. Yep, I can relate to that. I have a lot of plans for the plot. So right now, the plot is an eighth of an acre, and it's in some ways it's pretty nice because my longest shot I think is 40 yards if I shoot diagonal across the plot, which obviously that's perfect for a bow.
Yeah,
But the whole hayfield, it used to be, it's an old hayfield, but the crossing got washed away, got overgrown. There's cedars and such. So the whole field is like an acre and a half. And Robbie's my buddy that's assisted with all of the land management. And those of you that have watched the videos, he's had a few videos of his own in there. So him and I have talked, and what I think I want to do is since we installed a crossing last year and we can get a small tractor over there, I think I'm going to expand the plot and I'm going to kind of make it like sort of a horseshoe. So I think I'm going to plant clover where it's at now in the bottom, and then up top maybe do some like winter rye or some sort of late season, and then do brassicas in the front, and then try to put an elevated blind in the middle, kind of see what resources come along. As I mentioned, just small Iowa guys. We don't have the commercial backing or any of that. So kind of watch marketplace, look for free or cheap lumber, put together an elevated blind, put it in the middle, and then try to kind of build the plot around that. And I think it'd be pretty neat. Then throughout the farm, there's a lot of thick, super thick cedars that basically the branches start knee high and it doesn't get any better going up. So during shed season, which is about to hit, I've been seeing them still holding, so I'm holding off a bit because I don't want to push them to the neighbors. But I think we're going to take some sawzalls with us, just battery powered ones, and then we're going to kind of cut trails back to the back of the property. And then I think the other focus is we're going to try to make access trails down the east and west side of the property. So depending on winds, we can kind of skirt around, and then kind of a main trail basically through the plot to the back of the property. So really we're going to work on access. We're going to work on the plot. If we have time, there's a few areas we're thinking about putting some like micro plots in towards the back. And then we really want to retain as much bedding and thick cover as possible because our farm is the super thick stuff and it's surrounded by ag fields around us. So want to kind of capitalize on that and continue being the thick cover they want, but add a little bit of, deer candy to the mix.
yeah,
So
yeah,
going to be a busy off season.
yeah. We'll start putting in here, and I think we'll probably start around March is when we're planning on it.
Hmm.
But we are part of Adoko Wildlife Seed now, so um,
Okay.
yeah, there's we usually plant. We've planted the even before we was part of them. We planted
Hmm.
rack reaper,
Hmm.
dude, I'm telling you, that stuff is it's the bomb. It's got big. They're called sodbuster radishes. They,
Hmm.
they're like this big around, get about, I don't know, over a foot long. The deer love them, and turnips, huge turnips. They're bigger than softballs.
There you go. I had tried planting some brassicas this year, but we had just a hellacious drought. So when I got it in, it just never had a chance to flourish. So unfortunately, those didn't grow, but the clover got the job done.
Yeah,
But definitely want to get those in this year. I'm not married to a seed brand at this point, but last year we tried Whitetail Institute for our stuff, and I mean, clover grew.
I know a good one if you want to try it.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
We got clover
All right.
stuff.
Yeah, I could probably seed some more clover in
We
there.
got a plot hider also. Kind of secludes your plots.
Oh, so a cover crop.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's like 10 foot high, something like that.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
had tried planting a cover crop too, and it didn't take either, but did soil test. The soil is relatively good. Could be a little better. So now that I can get a tractor over there, we can actually throw lime down and everything, but that wasn't really feasible last year.
yeah, yeah, you know
Again, work with what you can.
exactly. Whenever we started did our first plot on this property that I got leased, we had a little beat up um riding lawnmower. We called this
Hmm.
the grass assassin. Like if you can our old videos on YouTube
Hmm.
with it, this thing was beat. We was constantly have to work on it, but we had some of our best plots whenever we had that.
It's funny how it works. Like, as I mentioned, we don't have expensive equipment. We literally, as I mentioned, some of you may not have been here yet, but we literally have a clip of us using a side-by-side winch to winch just as a lawnmower across this deep ditch. Like redneck ingenuity, I guess, you know.
You
There's a
don't
job, we got it done.
you don't need all that. We just like I said, we just had little plots, and that's all you need.
Yeah, I had a weed eater, and then we got that mower over there. I was cutting down rose bushes with a weed eater and burnt it and sprayed it. Well, obviously not that order. Sprayed, cut, burnt, and I mean it ended up getting at very first the clover got beat up by the grass, but hit it again with a mower once I got the crossing put in, and then clover won out. So clover should look real good this year because I know usually it takes a year or so and then it comes back stronger the next year. Might try to seed a little bit with it, but excited for the year.
Man, has nobody asked us any questions?
No, no questions for a bit. Have a comment from Josh Johnson earlier. Good old Natty Earth when we were talking about the
Oh,
scent sprays and um,
talked to Josh the other day.
very nice. Do you do what all do you hunt? You said you hunt bear, deer. Do you
Turkey.
turkey hunt? Okay.
Yeah, I try to. I'm not the greatest turkey hunter. I can't. I sound like a sick turkey when I call. So
You and I both. Last year was actually the first year I ever tried turkey hunting, and I was real busy with my other brand doing gun shows and stuff, so I didn't have time to actually turkey hunt until late season, and I probably went out like 10 times. And one of the weekends, so two of those times, it was like 40 mile per hour winds. So in the very early morning, I heard a little bit, and then the winds hit, and it was just dead silent the rest of the day. Then it just wasn't an absolute great experience with finding birds. So obviously, I was self-filming. I went to the back of the property, kind of out of the wind, and I had my tripod set up. And this was early into the filming. I didn't have a remote yet, and I can't make this shit up. I was sitting here, and I had a decoy out like 15 yards in front of me, 10 yards, whatever. And there's this trail in front of me. And I see this turkey just trot up. And at the same time, these two does trot up in front of me. And they just look at each other. And then the turkey just turns and runs away. Like it was literally 20 yards in front of me, but it happened so quick. I couldn't even grab my bow. It's like the stuff that happens to me on hunts. Another turkey hunt, I had a nice velvet buck just walk right up to me. And I am saying like, "Hey dude, like could you screw off? I'm trying to turkey." And he just turned around, walked away. It was just like he's like, "I get it, man. It's not deer season. See ya." Like so had that happen and then went out on some public and I had super foggy mornings. I had this bearded hen walk up and she was just 20 yards in front of me. And in Iowa, you can shoot a bearded turkey. So technically, I could have shot her, but I just didn't morally feel right shooting a hen during nesting season. So I let her walk. So I ate tag soup last season and I'm back for vengeance this season. I'm going to get out more. I'm going to make it happen. I learned a ton out there.
Yeah, I ate tag soup last season too with turkeys. I don't know. Busy though with we was busy with the plots and stuff. Plus rattlesnakes.
Mhm.
I was looking for rattlesnakes a lot more than too.
Yeah, that's also something we really don't have here. I saw that back on the wall there. Do you do a lot of that?
Yeah, I just go and catch them, take pictures, and let them go. I don't try not to kill them.
Try not to kill. I
Well,
am not a snake person.
what you drink
I
at
am
night?
a I have some minor case right now.
Nice.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not a snake person. Call me a wimp, that's fine. They're nope ropes to me.
I used to be terrified of them. I mean, absolutely terrified.
I'm
Most,
trying to have a better like I get their purpose. They're fine. What gets me is when you're out there weed eating, working the plot, mowing your yard, whatever, and they're under your feet and jump scare you. That's what gets me. If I see them first, I'm perfectly fine. But yeah,
got to add a little excitement to it.
take a few years off the life.
That's right.
But yeah, I say that, but really, like, I think we have a few rattlesnakes, but they're like extremely scarce. Like, you likely won't ever see one out here. So it's mainly garter snakes, rat snakes, so on. Like we really don't have anything to fear here, snake wise.
Yeah.
Even big game wise. I mean, we'll have some of your mountain lions come through. We have bobcats, coyotes. That's basically our predators. Hopefully, and slash thankfully right now, we don't have wolves. Hopefully they stay north because they've been reintroducing them into the northern states and I've heard in Minnesota, Wisconsin, like the north, that they absolutely have just devastated the deer population.
Oh, I
And
can.
it kind of makes you wonder if there's something there with the insurance companies too.
Yeah.
New conspiracy theory unlocked.
There you go. Now,
Josh Johnson.
have
Jimmy's a good guy. Good phone calls and stories with him. I work for the company that is sibling companies with Limestone Branch Distillery that makes minor case rye. Hey, small world.
who is it?
That was Josh Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Funny
Yeah.
to see other hunters drinking it. Yeah, I used to drink quite often and then I stopped for years. And I kind of just picked it up of a drink here and there. And I've just been kind of exploring with different drinks. So if you have any other suggestions, definitely let me know.
Moonshine.
Kind of moonshine, been
Yeah.
there, done that. So back when I used to drink, my normal drink was Everclear for quite a while. I don't know what was wrong with me, but
I could see why you quit drinking.
Yeah. Then Captain and Coke was always kind of my like comfort drink, my go-to.
No way, man. I set sail with Captain Morgan, walk the plank. I can't even smell that. Ugh.
Yeah, I can still drink it. I don't know. I don't really drink much anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
It is nice to just kick back and unwind with a drink here and there, though.
No doubt. So, like, the only dangerous stuff we got to hunt here is like bear and coyotes. We got Sasquatch, but he's not like really real dangerous or nothing.
Haven't found him yet either, right?
Well, I've heard I've heard a lot of tree knocking, but not. I have.
I if we're talking about this stuff, I guess I have one like kind of weird experience. So, shotgun season, I went out and by the way, that was a train wreck. I'm still trying to figure out how to make that into a fun video because I ate tag soup hard shotgun season. But there was one of the days I went in solo because my buddy had other plans he's tied up. And as I was walking in, so I saw a few does in the ditch walking in, whatever. I get back towards my stand, and then I'm getting ready to, go up the tree. I saddle hunt, so had all my stuff with me. And I hear coyotes howl, which, whatever, that's pretty common. And then, have you ever heard like a cat in the wild? So there was some sort of cat around. It basically sounds like a woman like crying for help, like screaming for help. It's kind of like a gut-wrenching sound. So I hear coyotes and it sounds like they're fanned around, but it's kind of how coyotes go. And then I hear the cat and I was pretty happy to get up the tree. Say that.
I would say. So you don't have no Bigfoot stories.
No, no, no Bigfoot stories.
Do you not believe?
Hey, I mean, I see both sides of that, with the camera technology we have today, shouldn't we have seen something? But then,
He's a shapeshifter.
he's a shapeshifter. That's logical. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Josh Josh said he's been using Scent Assassin since early 2019, best smelling natural earth on the market. Yeah, I will say from what I've used of scent sprays, I am liking this the most. Not just because Jimmy's here and I'm kissing his ass, right? But genuinely, genuinely, I did like how it smelled.
I'm not
And
nobody else's stuff, man. There's plenty of skin in the game for everybody.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. I think there's room for success for everyone in the industry. And getting greedy and bashing other brands and such really just reflects on yourself, not them.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to get it.
Right.
That's just
Right.
that's unprofessional.
I agree. I agree. But yeah, so far, loving the stuff. I got the bundle of the, earth smell. And I actually just finally got around to washing my stuff after the season and have the detergent use that. I actually need to go get it out of the dryer next. Do
Yeah,
you have anything new coming you maybe want to hint at for the season or for the year?
yeah. We've got some new apparel we're coming out with that I'm pretty excited about, and then we're working on the deodorant right now, and it's been a work in progress. But
Hmm.
I'm we've got some now, but I'm not totally in love with it, and we are not going to put our name on something that we don't stand behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I don't want to just to get something out, and plus, like Jason, we was at a meeting at the lab the other day, and like, we just couldn't give the okay for it. But
Hmm.
there's something else that we're working on that I'm really excited about. Um, but I'm not going to let it out of the cat out of the bag yet.
All right, a
But
little
it's
cliffhanger for us.
something that I used to use all the time until I couldn't get it no more.
There
And
you go.
kind of we're
Do
working, and like if you
do
go ahead.
do you have any speculation on when there might be any sort of like info release or?
Well, first of all, it will be tested first, and the field
Hmm.
get first dibs on all that. So that's a perk to being in the field staff. But no, it just depends on how quick and can do it and all that. But she's confident it can be done. So
Makes sense. Good to hear. Always love hearing that there's new products to kind of help with the hunt on the way.
yeah, you've seen our bow wax and stuff too, haven't you?
Yeah, I did see that. I was kind of browsing through the website. I saw you guys also have pet spray.
Yeah. Yes, we.
Being being a puppy owner, that definitely piqued the interest.
Yeah. Yeah. The citrus agave. That's where it's at.
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw you guys had the non-scented and then you had the citrus and
Yeah. You get people that's like, oh, there's no smell. They give the review. There's no smell.
hmm.
Well, no, no shit.
You
It's
didn't see the non-scented?
yeah. But anyways, it's the citrus agave, man. It's really good, and we'll have some more scents coming out.
Hmm. Nice. Yeah, as a pet owner, it's nice seeing some options for that too. So definitely be grabbing some of that for the puppy.
Yeah, but like I'm really excited about the one that I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, come on.
If you look at some of
You,
my earlier hunting pictures,
hmm.
then in the last like 2 years, if you look at them close enough, you should be able to guess what it is.
All right, guys, go find the Easter egg. Do you have any hunts planned coming up or bucket list hunts or?
Um, well, turkey season. If we get a tag in Kansas, I think we're going to Kansas
Hmm.
uh, probably Octoberish. I'm
How is that?
What is it?
Like do you have to put in preference points there?
I I have no idea. I know Jason told me that we've got to apply for it or whatever in
Okay.
March or something. So, but if we don't get it, then we won't be going. But
Hmm.
like, I think we're going to do a field staff only hog hunt, possibly.
Oh,
I
that's interesting.
details on it,
There
the
you go.
lodge, and I mean, and it'll be fun. It's basically like a get together and have fun and shoot a hog.
There you go. That's something I've never done either. We thankfully don't have those up here yet. Hopefully that doesn't come.
I mean, they're fun, I guess.
Hmm.
But
Fun to hunt, but I don't think it'd be fun to have, here on our grounds tearing up everything.
no, the bears is what you don't want.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have either of those, so I think that's probably a big reason why our deer population flourishes.
They tear everything up here, man. They tear if you can't have a feeder,
Yeah, I've seen all the pictures of feeders and then trail cams and um, tree stands, you name it.
man, I had one tear up my 4-wheeler seat.
Oh no.
Yeah, it got on top of my 4-wheeler seat and ate the padding out. That was years
There
ago.
you go. So do you mainly permission hunt or do you public hunt more?
Well, I always basically public hunted
Hmm.
for years and years, and then if somebody let me hunt their farm or their property, I would do that. And I'm
Hmm.
fortunate to have some really good friends and stuff that's basically let me have the run of their place.
Mm-hmm.
And I leased Jason and I. Jason's my business partner. Jason,
Mm-hmm.
but we leased 1,300 acres in Kanawha County, and we've we've grown that place. There's been some pretty good bucks taken off of it, but
There we go.
I try to do private as much as possible. But
Mm-hmm.
I cut my teeth on public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I briefly mentioned earlier, I during shotgun season. So when you think shotgun season, you predominantly think pushing and drives and such. And that's not really my style. I've been on a couple of them when I was younger, and I don't know, man. It's not for me. Props to those guys. I just feel like it kind of takes the thrill and fun out of the hunt. So I saddle hunted it, right? And I started at the farm. Opening day, had a pretty decent buck walk up, just kind of he was moving quick, but skirted on by, and he was going through kind of the thick trees and stuff, so it happened so fast I didn't really have the opportunity to shoot or get it on film for that matter. And look over at Robbie and I'm like, know exactly where he's going. Let's hang out here for an hour and see if anything kind of comes up the field edge out in front of us. He came behind us by the plot, which, by the way, every single time we don't hunt the plot, there's deer on the plot. Every time. Every single time. And so he creeps up behind us, goes out of the way, and we give it an hour or so. I'm like, let's go to the ground. There's two of us, so you can follow me with the camera. Let's go to the ground. Let's see what we can make happen. And I know exactly where he's bedding. Let's go get him. So slowly creep up, and man, it didn't go out. It didn't go well. So he ended up being on what I would say would be the wrong side of the ditch that you would think for the wind. And then he ended up being like 40 yards closer than expected. So I ended up bumping him, and I pull up. I was using a 350 Legend. I pull up, and then, I just could not get a sight picture on him. I guarantee a lot of people would have popped shots, but the biggest thing with me is like I'm always trying to be as ethical as possible. If I'm not 100% certain about my shot, I'm not taking it. So I did not take a shot. I, hit him with a meh. Robbie hit him with a louder meh. He did not care. He kept going. When he stopped, he was behind a tree, It just so after the fact, I looked down, and this was a recently purchased 350 Legend, and just sighted it in. Looked down, the magnification was on 16 times instead of 4 times. It was a 4 to 16. So that's why I literally couldn't even get his whole body in frame.
Nice.
So user error contributed to that. Sucked terribly. Noticed that, went back, tried to loop around like the southern end of the farm and come up to where we think he would go. And ran into like four does, I think, and looped back around, didn't find him. Rest of the hunt, like we grabbed lunch, came back, set up, didn't see anything. And at this point, that was opening day of Shotgun 2 season. Shotgun 1 had already happened, so the pressure is already there. And then from then on out, they just didn't have their normal patterns. Everything was out the window. It's shotgun season in Iowa, by far the busiest season. So instead of coming up the trails through the plot, staging, so on, they were just dumping out of the side of the property onto the neighbors. And again, ethical, legal, not going to do that, not touching that. So decided to hit public land as a last ditch effort. We ended up walking around 7 miles on public, and we didn't see a single deer. There were signs everywhere. Didn't see a single deer until we were walking back to the truck, and then a yearling doe crossed the path in front of us. It was absolutely tragic. Finish out the season back at the farm, no luck. Um, just kind of unfortunate season for me. And I think I'll do late muzzleloader next year. No shotgun for me. I'm not gonna push. I refuse to. So
I got a question about this saddle hunting.
yeah, shoot away.
So, does it not hurt the twig and giggleberries any?
So it can. Um, I use a trophy line saddle, and this was my first saddle, so I can't really speak of other ones. But it's essentially like wearing a diaper. You have a belt on the front, right? And then you have two straps that wrap around like your legs.
Uh-huh.
And I'll usually, pre-adjust those and then tighten them up. And I don't really run into issues. I hear a lot of people talk about hip pinch
Uh-huh.
and uncomfort, but I personally haven't ran into that. I'm using the Covert Light 2 saddle, and it's been phenomenal for me. So I have stands too, like your traditional ladder stands, and they have their place. What I don't like so much about ladder stands anymore, and this goes back to my buck, right? I was in a ladder stand for that. You're on the front of the tree, right?
Yeah.
So you have nothing in between you and them. So that doe saw me. She busted me. And I'd like to think if I was in my saddle, that probably wouldn't have happened, or the odds at least would have been in my favor, because you position yourself with the tree in between you and the deer.
Yeah.
Or that's perfect world, obviously. In the end, a deer is, you know, able to make their own decisions. So as much as you watch them, as much as you try predicting, they have free spirit, free will. So
When you're hunting
I
that
like saddle. What's that?
when you hunt that ladder stand again, you need to really check into those gilly pucks. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah, you did mention that. I'll definitely check into that. Um, Saddle hunting, I shot an urban deer with my saddle. It was actually the first shot I took out of my saddle. I had practiced climbing a few times and positioning in it, but man, it went flawless. It it was kind of an interesting story. It was a really slow hunt until it wasn't. That's how it usually goes. And it was right at last light, and this deer just comes and beds next to me after I had packed my stuff up because I had forgotten, I think, my light or something. I don't remember. I had packed up and I was getting ready to climb down the tree. I started to, and then it just walks up and beds. I'm like, are you serious? And it gave me the time to unpack, like grab my bow off. I didn't unpack my camera. Naturally, I'd put all that up and, you know, got the deer, harvested it, and it was just, I leaned back. The biggest thing with saddle, you have to trust your gear because you'll be uncomfortable at first because you're dangling from a tree by a rope, right?
Yeah.
But you just have to trust it. You lean back, and then it's like the flexibility of it. If you're in a stand, you have to stand here, you can pivot around. But a saddle, you can really work around the tree and shoot wherever you need. And what I like about a saddle, for one, you don't have to leave it in a tree. Not that you have to leave a hang on or a ladder in a tree, but a ladder is kind of a pain in the ass to move around, let's be
Yeah.
real. But a saddle, you can do that if you're somewhere you're confident it's not going to get stolen. But the beauty of it is it's mobile. You pack it in. It's great for public hunting. You can just roll in, kind of scout some signs, and set up. You throw your sticks on the tree, climb up, throw your platform, tether in, and you're there. with, say, a lot of the counter arguments would be, oh, I can just use a climber. Well, a climber, you're worried about branches, you're worried about the perfect tree still to an extent, versus a saddle, you can kind of work around those branches and such. So I personally have enjoyed saddle hunting. Now, I will say the caveat, you should probably practice shooting off your weak side because you have your bridge and everything, and then, you know, trying to reposition yourself and all that.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those hunters up there playing around on your phone, not paying attention, you can get yourself caught, which obviously you can do the same thing in a stand.
Yeah.
Get off your phone, enjoy the hunt.
So can you all use corn there? Can you bait?
No, no baiting in Iowa. I mean, there's obviously the age-old talk, are food plots baiting? I don't know. That's your interpretation. But you can have a food plot. You can't dump a bag of corn, right? So, no baiting. That's a hot topic too. Some
Yeah,
people are like, you can use it, do it, go for it. Other people are like, oh no, you're skillless, whatever. Again, how much time do you have?
exactly.
Utilize it. Not everyone's hunting for a score, antlers, social media likes. Like in the end, if I harvest a deer, I'm using every bit of it that I can. That's filling my freezer.
Yeah,
Like my freezer is full this year. I mean, I've probably chowed down a little more than I should. I'm a little bit lower than I should be, but
that's
you
the
get my point.
whole point. That the whole reason to hunt is to, you know, for the meat and not just.
Yep. Yep.
But
Josh says, I'm sitting here looking at his pictures, looking for the Easter egg. And then he said, Jimmy, get a saddle, man. Or
no way,
talk to Trophy Tree Stands about making one.
no way.
Oh, come on. Come to the dark side.
I may one of these days, but I may. What I might do is just like borrow yours and use it one time
There
and
you go. Well,
something.
you should, if you're not already, you should start building points for Iowa.
Well, I'll do that.
Do it. You can
So
come hunt with me.
the saddle hunt, I could go buy like a pack of Pampers and some rope.
Yeah, yeah, that's essentially what I'm using. I mean, I don't know if I would go as budget as Pampers. I would say you definitely want to go with like Huggies or something more premium.
Oh, okay.
But I was hearing around the grapevine though that you already wear Depends, so you might be
Yeah.
able to retrofit those.
What happens when you're 43?
Yeah, yeah, over the hill there.
Yeah, you tend to leak a little bit.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, start building Iowa points
All
and,
right.
in like a decade, you'll be able to come hunt with me.
Heck yeah.
I think it's like 6 years, 5 or 6 years right now,
Just
depending.
come to West Virginia and hunt. You don't have to build shit.
Yeah, you kind of have me at bear. I really want an archery bear.
Yeah.
I want a bear in general, but archery. See, I find it more thrilling to get something with a bow because not taking anything away from rifle hunting, I'm a decent shot with a rifle and it would be fun, I guarantee it, but with a rifle, you can shoot something hundreds of yards out. There's just something special to me about needing to get, 20, 30, 40, 50 yards up to something. It's a lot more personal. And I feel like the error for mistake is just, or not the error for the margin for mistakes is smaller. You need to hunt a better hunt.
See, my goal is to shoot a bear off the ground at
Hmm.
yards or less with a bow. 10 yards or less with a bow. And I play cat and mouse with bears all the point
Hmm.
I hunt, man, it is just loaded with white oaks. And it seems
Hmm.
to hit every year. And um I had this big bear that I was after, and I had him at 25 yards, but I wanted him at 10 or less.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
like
that's
smart, he was a smart bear.
my highest on the bucket list is elk.
See,
Elk.
I could take elk or leave it. I mean it's really good. Kurt, my buddy Kurt, like
Hmm.
gave me some elk meat, and oh my gosh, it's so good. But I, I mean, I would do it,
Hmm.
but it's not like something I'm content hunting. Honestly, I'm content hunting deer and bear and turkey here.
Hmm.
But
You know what's really good? Moose. Have you tried moose? You
uh,
should if you haven't. Delicious. So moose would be amazing one day. We're obviously going from like middle class to, more
yeah,
of a wealthier man's hunt there
buy a
in
lot
a
of
lot of places.
go elk or go moose hunting. Buy tons of scent assassin. I'll go moose hunting.
There we go. Bison assassin. He will take me moose hunting.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. So I started building points for Wyoming, and I think that's like a 6 year process as well around there to get a good zone. I may try doing an over the counter Colorado elk hunt between now and then. We'll kind of see how it plays out. As for other hunts, I really want to try doing a South Dakota over the counter mule deer hunt this year. I think
That,
that would be phenomenal to do.
that would be cool. I,
Whitetail, it's kind of hard for me to want to spend the resources to go elsewhere because I live in Iowa.
yeah, like what do you need to go anywhere for?
Yeah, I mean, I've read in articles and such, Iowa is the place that you can just go pick any tree and put a tree stand in it and a trophy buck's gonna walk under you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's you live in the like the heaven for whitetail hunters.
Right. Yeah. There's like what is it, Iowa and like Ohio and Wisconsin or
Yeah,
something. I think those are maybe followed by like Illinois.
yeah. But I was
Midwest in general produces, but Iowa's like the place people one of the places people like want to go. And I don't know if it's partly to do with the lottery system making it more like intensive to get in because these dudes literally build points for like 5 or 6 years. There are people I've heard that try loopholing it though, where they'll go say shotgun season and they'll buy a doe tag and party hunt because I don't know exactly how laws work there. I haven't participated in that per se, but during shotgun season, you can party hunt. So, say you have a tag, I have a tag, or you're a resident, have a tag, I have a tag, whatever. You can party hunt because that's when they do all those drives and stuff. So, they'll just fill tags basically. And it's like they find loopholes around that and so on. But if you want to bow hunt, which is, the sought after premium, I think it's like 5 or 6 years in a prime zone.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, that's too much waiting. But that's like me. I really don't.
But you're gonna start. You're gonna
Yeah,
start waiting because you're gonna come hunt with me, right?
for sure. So by the
The
time
collab no one thought they needed.
do what
The collab no one thought they needed.
exactly? So by the time I'm like 50, I should be able to hunt there.
Right? I'll have a handicap accessible blind waiting for you.
Yeah, you can wheel me in it.
Yep, yep. We'll get a scent assassin walker ready.
Yeah, you could have Tim carry me in there.
There you go. Yeah, Tim's here in Iowa too.
Yeah, yeah, he's a giant.
Yeah, he's definitely a very large guy.
Like I'm telling you, I've never. He's like makes me look like a little kid. I just
Yeah,
never.
he
I shook his hand. I couldn't. Like I said, it's like shaking a bunch of bananas.
yeah, I'm not a super huge guy, but I'm not a tiny guy. I'm 6 foot tall. I have pretty decent sized hands. And his handshake, he literally makes you feel like you have the hands of a toddler. Like it
Yeah,
just encases around you.
yeah, it's crazy.
He's a gentle giant.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Should be seeing him coming up here the Deer Classic, which is the first weekend of March. So, do you guys do any trade shows upcoming? Do any of those plans this year?
usually do the ATA, but we didn't do it this year where it was in St. Louis, and
Hmm.
just we just didn't do it. But we
The
planned.
trade show industry as a whole has kind of shifted from what it used to be.
Yeah, we probably. I'm going to say 99% sure we're going to do it next year.
Yeah.
Us and Adoko.
Let me know, and I may have to make the trip down.
Yeah, you should. It's. Have you been before?
Tim Wells, no, Tim Sylvia. And no, I have not been to the ATA before.
It, it, I was amazed the first time I ever went. I was like, small West Virginia boy, and the only
Hmm.
or anything you've been to is like a little local hunting and fishing show, and then you go to that, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, that reminds me of so quick history lesson of me. When I got out of school, I kind of chased a dream. I had an automotive blog and I'd travel around the country to car events. I would do articles on events, I would do photography, I'd do build features, so on and so forth. And SEMA is a industry like event, and I went there, and SEMA's in Vegas. It's a week long, and you spend all day every day walking that week and you still don't touch like half of the show. So kind of relating to you and ATA there, like it's a whole different world going from, small town Iowa or small town USA to the big events.
Yeah, it was crazy, and like to see the people that you'd watched on TV for years,
Right.
like
People that helped get you into it and
yeah, like Waddell, and then uh like Roger Ragland. He was like, I used to love to watch his videos.
Mhm.
Like, he's Jiminy Christmas, like that. Yeah, he was my favorite. Him and Dan Fitzgerald, but I've never seen them there.
Mhm. Yeah, it's we have a lot of influencers here in Iowa hunting. Obviously, it's kind of prime whitetail country, so it makes sense, but man, I it's like every day or every week I end up stumbling across another like large Iowa influencer.
Yeah,
Like there's obviously Tim with Hit Squad Outdoors, there's Lee and Tiffany, Crush, there's the Bomars, there's Knock On, there's Raised Hunting, so on and so forth. Drury.
yeah. There's a few here, not much, but
So I guess as we start to wind down, do you have one solid piece of advice you'd give to a new hunter?
mm, one. You go first while I'm thinking.
Ooh, put me on the spot. Reverse card right there.
Dude, you put me on the spot first. Let's see.
I did. So I will say hunt your own hunt. Make your own goals. Don't get caught up in the social media score game. Um, if it makes you happy, if it gets the heart pumping when it walks in front of you, that's all that matters. Don't like this is one thing I noticed actually. In all of the hunting social media groups, I saw so many posts that started with, I know this isn't the biggest deer, but I'm sick of that. Erase that line.
Exactly.
Post it made you happy, it got your heart pumping, post it.
Yeah,
Or I mean, enjoy it for yourself. You don't even have to post it if you don't want to. But I'm tired of you going into it like afraid of getting deer shamed.
yeah.
Like, fuck those deer shamers.
It doesn't have to be
Eat
150.
the meat. Yeah. Eat the meat, utilize the deer, respect the harvest. That's another note. Quit taking disrespectful pictures. Honor that animal. Use that animal every way you can.
And please,
We, yeah.
please tuck its tongue in its mouth or cut it off before you take pictures. I cannot stand to see
Yeah.
that.
And if you're in Iowa, make sure you tag it before you take pictures.
Yeah, same way with West Virginia. But
Yep.
I agree with you totally, man. Just don't let outdoor television and these other people that's got better means, as in hunting property and whatnot influence how you hunt, because there's not 150-inch deer around every you know everywhere. There's just not. It's like it's unless you're in Iowa.
Wait a minute. No. We do have a lot of nice deer here, but media hypes it up so much more than it is. Like, I love Iowa. We have a tremendous amount of trophy deer, but it's not to the extent they make it seem.
But like, I don't worry about it too much anymore. At one time I was really worried about how big it had to be, a big one had to be a big one. Guess what? This year I shot a little tiny 6 point and I was happy as a pig in shit with it. So
Can you tell me, did the meat taste different on that one versus?
no, it didn't. And like they say you can't eat the horns and all that, but you can sure stir the hell out of the chili with it.
That's fair. That's fair. Get you a real good stirring.
Spike makes a better one though.
There you go. Likes a good spoon there.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna let you steal my piece of advice. You're back on the spot there.
All right. Um, are we talking just hunting in general or just deer?
Hunting in general.
Um, like the feller said before, just get in the woods. Experience is everything. Um, make sure you buy scent assassin so you can be scent free. But just please just respect the animal and or that you're hunting or whatever. And I don't know. I'm about to advice out.
So yeah, hunt your own hunt and make sure that you're taking that animal for a reason. Have the respect to utilize every bit of it you can.
Yeah,
Um, Shoot what makes you happy. I didn't pay for your tag, you did. So that means it's your choice. Don't listen to the haters out there. Do what makes you happy. As long as it's ethical and legal.
exactly. Hashtag your tag, your hunt.
Yep. And Josh said hashtag respect the tail. Jimmy will know what I just said.
Yeah, it's his hunting.
There you go. So with that as a bit of an outro, I will say make sure to check out Scent Assassin. Thank you so much for hopping on and being the first guest of the Veganless Podcast, Jimmy.
Thanks for
Appreciate that. And as always, be sure to check out all of the Veganless socials. We're on all the major platforms. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and this will be going into podcast land shortly. Thank you so much. Take care. Peace
See
out.